Okay, abusia GodfredDame, former Attorney General, and Richard Jackpa and Akuffo and ambulance case here just now saying Richard Jackpa a petition court and CID say yenye investigations a kwanya GodfredDame ene Akuffo Addo kabom pesenka omo prosecute Akuffo and abusia case no koko pie mu ewo CID boss ene court no abusuan sisi ano GodfredDame no ono ankasa no wo hu se case no ebu abonenti no opa court na cho se osere omo end dismiss case na sisi enimguase a aka GodfredDame no enye enimguase ketwa yense mombre mom yenko na yenko nkotie ensema court na GodfredDame kwa sanso cha also case no enka in camera but case no ababa public domain awie enti no obesere court omo and this message case no enfama no mom yenko na yenko nkoti ensema court so unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma afoforo so ensa into me enka bi aha Ghana Politics Avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so never any updates we ever drop biano once able to me akabi madam say.
Meanwhile, former Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfred Yeboah-Dame is urging the General Legal Counsel to dismiss a complaint filed by private citizen Daniel Ofosu-Appiah stating breach of practice and procedural rules of the disciplinary committee. Daniel Ofosu-Appiah, a private citizen, in May 2025, reported the former Attorney General to the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Counsel over the conduct of Godfred Yeboah-Dame in the handling of the Republic versus Akuffo and two others. According to GodfredDame, the complainant circulated contents of his complaint in the mass media the same day that he submitted it to the committee, adding that it connotes political undertones and questions his motive. The former Attorney General added that Daniel Ofosu is not connected to the matter cited in his complaint, hence does not result in any injury to him. He further stated that he carried out his duty as the Attorney General and as such cannot be accused of professional misconduct when he didn't do so in his personal capacity.
So that's the background to the petition sent to the General Legal Counsel to investigate and take action against GodfredDame. So what exactly are the responses that GodfredDame has put out? You say it on your screen shortly. He says, amongst other things, that respectfully, this is in clear breach of the practice and procedure of this honorable committee, as proceedings before the General Legal Counsel are required to be confidential. The complainant is unconnected to the matters that are the subject of his complaint. He has not shown any nexus with the facts, any injury suffered by him, or any association with any of the parties in the case Republic versus Akuffo and two others, whose prosecution led to the subject of his complaint. Respectfully, I submit that this honorable committee should decline jurisdiction over this complaint regarding acts done by the Attorney General in his official capacity, especially in this instance involving the exercise of prosecutorial discretion.
Well, let's
issues regarding the legal fraternity, because barely 24 hours after petitioning the Criminal Investigations Department to investigate Justice Yoni Kolendi and Richard Jackpa over alleged interference of administration of justice, Daniel Mafu Oforiata, a Chebi indigene, has escalated the matter to the presidency. This time, he is asking President John Mahama to remove Justice Yoni Kolendi as a Supreme Court judge, accusing him of improper interference with a trial involving Dr. Akuffo and two others. Lord Eduasare reports.
The war of petitions began with businessman Richard Jackpa, who was the second accused in the ambulance trial. Together with Dr. Akuffo and Sylvester Animana, they were facing charges of causing financial loss to the state. In July, Richard Jackpa petitioned the CID to investigate the former Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, accusing the latter of soliciting his cooperation to testify in a manner which would incriminate Dr. Akuffo, the first accused. He attached WhatsApp conversations between the two of them as evidence to make his case. Few months on, private citizen Daniel Mafo Oforiatta also petitioned the CID to investigate Justice Yoni Kolendi and Richard Jackpa over allegations of interfering with administration of justice. The petitioner alleged that Richard Jackpa, with the help of his cousin, Justice Kolendi, sought to obstruct justice by pressuring GodfredDame to discontinue the prosecution against the businessman. Oforiatta further alleged that upon failing to do so, Richard Jackpa went on a spree seeking to tarnish the image of the former Attorney General. In a petition dated September 30 addressed to President Mahama, Daniel Mafo Oforiatta outlined 4 grounds for removal against Justice Yoni Kolendi, including alleged ethical violations. He attached the cross-examination of Richard Jackpa by the Attorney General in the ambulance trial, WhatsApp conversations between Richard Jackpa and the former AG, the High Court ruling, as well as other court documents to buttress his point. It remains to be seen if the President will act on the petition by Daniel Mafo Oforiatta. Lord Dwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Right, let's get some, legal perspectives on this. Martin Pebu is a private legal practitioner. He's joined us for a quick chat on this. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Yes, good evening, Name.
Right, to start with, we're told, clearly looks like Article 146 has come back into mainstream conversation. This time around, it's a Supreme Court judge whom the president has been petitioned to remove. But on the face of it, as a lawyer, what are your initial thoughts and the grounds on which this petition has been sent to the president? It is interference with judicial process. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so the first thing is that the Supreme Court has warned time ad nauseam, endlessly, that the petition should not be published. Must not be published. You say, so it's actually a bit, let me say, retrogressive that despite many Supreme Court decisions, still the petitions keep leaking and being published. You say, because with that, it affects the process. That's how come that the Supreme Court said no, when a petition is made in a J2 versus Attorney General, the Supreme Court said the only thing that should be said is that the petitioner can announce to the media that, yes, I filed a petition. I'm not suggesting that it's a petitioner who leaked this petition, no. But what I mean is that under the law, the Supreme Court says that the petitioner can inform the media, the general public, that he's filed a petition. That's it, but not the content. And so neither the petitioner nor any citizen, right, has a right to publish the petition. So in order for us to mitigate the effect of what has already been done, maybe we would not discuss the merits, so that at least we would see that as already been published, it's been published already. So it's not our fault. But if we were to go into the merits, then it will be seen as a fresh step that we are now prejudging the matter.
Certainly.
But what I can also say is that the next point I wish to make is that, well, it tells you that citizens are beginning to assert themselves more and more because this matter was in the public domain last year. We beat it many times on the key points and other TV3 programs, and we saw how it showed that the Attorney General was involved in unethical conduct, etc. Right? But now that the petitioner has chosen to take on Justice Yoni Kolendi, it also means that once we're condemning the Attorney General, it's not within our right to just condemn the petitioner. Let him have his day in court. That's before the, whether before the Council of State, whether he succeeds beyond that point or not. Let's just simply say that he should have his day in court. Okay.
Right, and Counsel, clearly it's an issue of concern, and like you indicated, the petition was supposed to have gone straight to the president, but the full details of it is already in the media. So it's subject to what many have described as, public court to discuss and talk about it even before the presidency acts on it. But does that have any bearing on at all on the final outcome, if any, when the public speaks about an issue?
No. No, what the Supreme Court said in the Justice Paul Berry versus Attorney General, Chief Justice Tiger PI, etc., was that they cannot cancel the petition. They cannot throw it out just because it has been leaked. In the same manner in the Justice in the Ejechun case, that was the same thing. The Supreme Court said they can't throw out the petition just because it's been leaked. So that won't have a bearing. But maybe if the leaker, the person who leaked it, is caught, then perhaps there will be the full extent of the law will be brought to bear on him.
Right. Okay. And finally, still on the same strand of conversation having to do with Akuffo's case, we know that the General Legal Counsel has also been petitioned to take action against former Attorney General GodfredDame. He has responded to it. We'll bring the response to our viewers in a bit. But before you leave us, what are your general thoughts on his response to the fact that the General Legal Counsel is being asked to look into his conduct, having spoken to Richard Jackpa in the build-up to the case that was in court?
So the same comments as I gave for the Article 146 proceedings. So now, when a lawyer is also facing disciplinary hearings, it's also supposed to be in camera. That's Regulation 15 of the the professional ethical rules, right? The disciplinary rules. So we enjoy the in-camera hearing. So for that reason, we cannot discuss the merits of his response. And so we'll have to wait for the disciplinary committee to come out. So once again, we'll commend the petitioner for taking that bold step. That is what we need citizens to do, to hold duty bearers to account, because we know we're all not happy with the way GodfredDame conducted himself in that office as Attorney General. He lowered that office to the lowest the extent that we've ever seen in this republic. And so it's good that he'll be facing the disciplinary committee. Yes. Okay. But as to the merits, we'll express no opinion.
We'll hold on for now. Thank you so much, Martin Pebu, for your time. He's a private legal practitioner.
Continue with the rest of our stories. It's been a long day with the DSTV saga, and the price and banter between MultiChoice and the Ministry of Communications is far from over. In a twist of events, DSTV has issued an apology and clarification regarding the frequently asked questions earlier put out, contradicting the joint media statement with the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations. Judith Brown reports.
It's been less than a week since the announcement by Communications Minister Sam Nati George promising Ghanaians more value for money.
MultiChoice Africa has committed to implement an unprecedented increased value offer only in Ghana, and I repeat, only in Ghana, which will result in Ghanaian DSTV subscribers getting more services for less.
However, latest responses from the frequently asked questions to DSTV Ghana suggested a surprising contradiction. Well, according to Sam George, the new pricing plan, which would provide subscribers 33% to 50% more value, is a permanent package subject to 3 monthly reviews by the committee.
MultiChoice has offered value over and above what we expected of them. I went into this with a request for 30%. With what we have discussed here, the lowest is 33%, the highest is 50%. The committee will reconvene in 3 months to evaluate the impact of this initiative. This will be an ongoing and periodic exercise.
But responses from DSTV suggested that this was just a 3-month promotion and not a permanent agreement. While Sam George's announcement seemed like a significant win for Ghanaians, the fine print suggested otherwise, leaving many wondering if this is just another marketing gimmick. But just moments after these responses took social media by storm, DSTV has yet again released another statement, this time apologizing for the confusion caused by the facts published on their website. Well, according to them, the new value offering is effective as of October 1, 2025, and aligns with a joint media statement issued by the Communications Minister. They further clarify that the committee will reconvene in 3 months to evaluate the impact of the new value offering, which will be a periodic exercise, and that all customers can enjoy the benefits without restrictions on their bouquet choices. And so will DSTV live up to its promises? Well, only time will tell. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
In a related development, the minority in Parliament has called on the Minister, Sam George, to inform every Ghanaian of his reason for changing his initial stance on not accepting any upgrade but price reduction of not less than 30%. In a release issued earlier, the group asked the minister to account for the amount collected by the government from the 10,000 Ghana cedis imposed on DSTV since its inception and request an apology from him. The release said that the minority side are not surprised by the minister's stance given his reputation for disrespect and pomposity among well-meaning Ghanaians. So that's what the minority have had to say on the DSTV versus government debacle.
Meanwhile, Director of Arbitration and Mediation at the Consumer Protection Agency, Nana Prempe Okoji-Aboidohene, has criticized the stance taken by the Minister of Communication on the ongoing DSTV subscription debate. He says the minister's approach is misguided and unlikely to yield results.
In a recent statement, DSTV clarified that its so-called value enhancement offer is a promotional campaign running from October 1 to December, contrary to earlier claims by the minister that customers would be upgraded to higher tier packages. The Consumer Protection Agency says the minister should have allowed consumers to lead the advocacy rather than taking the fight on as a regulator despite repeated cautions.
For the regulator and the minister to insist that a private business entity should reduce its prices because he believes that the exchange rate, the city is appreciating the dollar. That was so wrong. It is the consumers who have to come out and say that, look, DSTV, you are charging us so much. And therefore, we are switching up our decoders. Once we do that in uniform or in unison, then DSTV can come down with the consumers and negotiate with us. That's the only best way that we can do it. But DSTV to reduce its service charges. Then we have to tell the TV license operators in Europe, where most Ghanaians want to watch Premier League and also to reduce their charges that they sell the channels to DSTV. And that is how it's supposed to be. I don't believe so. And moreover, our CD dollar depreciation is not static. It keeps on changing all the time.
He also dismissed allegations that DSTV is overcharging Ghanaians, stating that the service is a luxury and not a basic necessity.
Our own investigation shows that aside the almost 11 taxes that was imposed on DSTV, they also have a workforce population of about 2,100, and they have overheads. They have satellite dishes, they pay electricity and all that. So taking all that into their cost, I don't think that they were overcharging us. More so, DSTV is a luxury product, not a necessity that everybody wants. So those who are allowed to patronize, they will.
The debate over DSTV's pricing and promotions continues to stir public interest, with calls for clearer communication and stronger consumer advocacy.
Let's go on to some other stories this evening. And President John Dramani Mahama has revealed that the visa ban reversed by the United States government was in the best interest of Ghana and has no financial considerations to it. Given the firm assurance that Ghana will not be a dumping ground for deportees with criminal backgrounds, the president said that Ghana's acceptance of the deportees will not compromise its sovereignty, security and stability.
Since July, Ghana came under intense scrutiny following a visa ban imposition from the United States. Negotiations followed thereafter at high levels, including bilaterals at the recently ended United Nations General Assembly.
Let me state clearly that this outcome was negotiated in Ghana's best interest. And one of the key points in our negotiation with the U.S. authorities was our agreement to address the issue of overstayers who travel on student visas and others who travel as part of official government delegations. I mean, these are people who go and instead of coming back, they decide to stay. And so they have the record. So when they draw the threshold and you're above it, then they cancel your 5-year visas and bring you to B5, B3.
The lifting of a ban has got many talking, with conspiracy theories also being suggested. Speaking of the swearing in of new envoys, the president laid bare the conditions that assured the U.S. of lifting the ban.
There was no financial consideration as part of the understanding between Ghana and the United States. I also wish to inform you that negotiations are ongoing with regards to the trade tariffs of 15% and the renewal of AGOA, which was a 0% tariff on African nations. And so those negotiations are still ongoing. Ghana will not, and I repeat, will not become a dumping ground for deportees, nor will we accept individuals with criminal backgrounds. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
The President commissioned them with the oath of office, instrument, and secrecy, a charge for them to be economic ambassadors as Ghana's diplomatic stance remain non-aligned. For Ghana's ambassador to South Africa, Benjamin Kwashi, there exist opportunities for growth.
We read thoroughly the KPIs that we've been getting. It gives us cleared out regulations as to how we'll bring in these foreign investors. And I think that that is what we are going to do to ensure that we help in ensuring that our economy grows and then there's jobs and opportunities for everybody. I know a lot of companies in South Africa that came here, but they've started folding up. Some have left, some have indicated that their conditions then was not favorable to them. I think the condition now that we have today, fortunately for us, inflation is at a single digit. And I think that is a pat in the back of the NDC administration. And we are going to harness this. We're going to ensure that we stand on this to be able to build that economic diplomacy that we've all been asked to build.
You look at the proximity and look at what we can benefit. Even if they say we should exhibit goods, who can do it best between Ghana and Togo? I think even before Benin. So we have all those plans.
As the government nears 8 months in office, work starts immediately for the envoys. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Jubilee House, Accra.
In more news tonight, as the world becomes increasingly interconnected, cybersecurity threats are on the rise. Ghana is, however, taking proactive steps to protect its citizens and infrastructure from these threats as it launched its Cybersecurity Month. Judith Brown reports.
Speaking at the launch of the Cybersecurity Month.
I was winning and some are a course or political high winning. So I go GodfredDame and I just say I didn't want some Eddie Bremer and yeah, as I'm get to Accra. Is to say courts a bejato must say or be dismiss the case and I say on dismiss. Nabusia, very much some Japan cocotiza in some way at my Ghana politics avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that any updates be able to drop you. Onsa ebetumi akabi medamase.